Oh, you're going to want to sit down for this, because what unfolded wasn't just awkward, it was the kind of moment that makes you stop mid-scroll and whisper, "No way, that did not just happen." And yes, it did. If you came here to see exactly why Meghan Markle ended up talking to herself while Dame Kristin Scott Thomas pretended she was made of vapor, you're in the right place. Buckle up, because this one unravels slowly, sharply, and in a way that even Hollywood couldn't stage. So picture this. Meghan Markle arrives at the Balenciaga show in Paris, believing, truly believing, that this was her renaissance. Her grand return. A moment drenched in flashbulbs, couture confidence, and the triumphant soundtrack of her own imagined comeback. She stepped onto that carpet with a walk that wasn't a walk. It was a glide, a performance, a thesis statement. The chin angle? Perfect. The smile? Sculpted. The posture? Military level. She looked like she had spent the last 2 weeks practicing in the mirror, and honestly, maybe she had. In her mind, this wasn't just another fashion show. This was the "I'm still that girl" declaration the world was supposed to witness. But Paris, the city that can build legends and bury them, had a script of its own. The guest list alone could have powered an entire award season. And Hathaway glowing like she carries her own lighting. Dame Kristin Scott Thomas radiating the kind of elegance that whispers instead of shouts. Baz Luhrmann drifting through the room like a man who lives inside a spotlight. These weren't mere attendees. These were titans who walk into a space and alter its chemistry without doing a thing. And into that atmosphere glided Meghan, chin lifted just so, wearing that faintly expectant smile that silently begged, "Remember me? I married the runaway prince." She surveyed the room like she was ready for her coronation, and then she made her move. She drifted toward Dame Kristin with the grace of someone convinced the cameras were about to capture a royal meets artistic legend moment. A soft nod, a regal glance, two worlds merging in a still image destined for Vogue. Except the only thing captured was the sharp sting of reality. Meghan positioned herself beside Dame Kristin as if they'd been scheduled to interact. But Dame Kristin didn't move, didn't react, didn't even register her. No nod, no half smile, no tiny acknowledgement. Nothing. Meghan might as well have been a decorative mannequin placed for ambience. It wasn't shade. Shade is intentional. This was colder. This was an eclipse. Meghan didn't just get ignored. She got absorbed into the atmosphere, like she wasn't an individual, but part of the wallpaper. And what made it brutal wasn't the iciness, it was the precision. Dame Kristin turned ever so slightly, just enough to exclude Meghan without being dramatic. It was subtle, poised, deliberate. A tiny pivot with the force of a full social shutdown. People at that level don't accidentally snub. They're silent.
Don't you miss that feeling, getting lost in a story that feels like it was written just for you? If your heart needs a little magic, click on the link in I-button or in the description or pinned comment. It's waiting at infowebster.com. Go feel something again.
Is curated. Witnesses said it looked like a perfectly choreographed scene from a play titled How to Vanish Someone Without Touching Them. Meghan stood there frozen in a stance that was half poise, half panic. Her smile didn't break, but it tightened. Her eyes flickered with that frantic internal monologue, "Do I stay? Do I move? Did anyone see?" And the room? The room just glided on without her. In that suspended, humiliating beat, one truth became clear. Meghan wasn't the moment. She wasn't even a participant. She was scenery. And Dame Kristin's message? It wasn't cruel. It was instructional. A quiet reminder that real prestige doesn't reach, doesn't hover, doesn't perform. It simply exists. Meghan's entire expression shifted from confidence to calculation as she realized the cameras weren't following her. They had already moved to someone else. Paris didn't hate her. Paris did something far worse. It dismissed her. But Meghan is Meghan. She probably convinced herself it was just Paris being Paris, that LA would wash away the sting. California, after all, is her kingdom. Her sun-drenched sanctuary. So a few weeks later, she stepped back out with that Malibu glow, the practiced hair flip, the avocado toast confidence restored. This time, no giant fashion spectacle, just an intimate vegan dinner at Kelly Wearstler's home. A curated crowd of the rich, the relevant, and the PR crafted. But then Emma Grede walked in. Emma, the quiet powerhouse. CEO of Good American. Co-founder of Schemes. A woman who doesn't need to announce herself because the room does it for her. The second she entered, the energy shifted. Conversations leaned toward her like plants chasing sunlight. She laughed, and the room warmed. She spoke, and people listened. She existed, and the spotlight followed. And Meghan noticed. Meghan always notices. She began trying to recenter the attention, slipping into familiar scripts about her wine label, her foundation, her women's empowerment projects. The bullet points she recycles in every interview. But as she was maneuvering the conversation back to herself, Emma simply effortlessly cut in mid-thought. Not rude, not aggressive, just natural dominance. A reminder that some people command without trying. And Meghan's eyes flickered again. That microsecond of internal collapse. Another dethroning. Another night where she wasn't the gravitational force. But fate wasn't done. Because a few weeks later, the industry learned Emma Grede had just been appointed ambassador for the King's Foundation. Yes, that king. The same monarchy Meghan criticized, exposed, and emotionally distanced herself from. The irony wasn't subtle, it was surgical. While Meghan tried to build her own Californian Duchess narrative, the royal world didn't just ignore her, it replaced her with someone from her own social circle. Hollywood laughed privately. PR teams whispered. Everyone knew Meghan's camp tried to act thrilled for Emma, but the optics? They told their own story. Emma was shaking hands with the crown while Meghan drifted further from it. No documentaries. No diaries. No orchestrated tears. Emma simply existed, and she was enough. Meanwhile, Meghan's shine began to dull. Paris muted her. LA overshadowed her. And the royals? They moved on without even saying her name. Behind closed doors in Montecito, things were shifting too. The Meghan-Harry partnership, once rebellious and romantic, had become a brand machine. Insiders whispered that Harry, once the fiery royal renegade, now scrolled late at night through clips of Meghan being ignored in Paris and outshined in LA, and instead of anger, he felt relief. The chaos wasn't orbiting him anymore. Someone else carried the media weight. Their marriage, once full of spark, had cooled. Strategy meetings replaced affection. Photo ops replaced moments. Scripts replaced sincerity. And Harry retreated inward, obsessing over his image, his aging face under Hollywood scrutiny. The prince who once abandoned royal duties for authenticity now lived inside a performance reel he couldn't escape. Meanwhile, Buckingham Palace began stirring. King Charles, long patient, seemed to recognize the monarchy needed pruning. Whispers grew. Parliament might intervene. Titles could be stripped. A cleanup before William takes the throne. Andrew first, possibly. But some insiders believed Harry and Meghan were next. No duke. No duchess. No royal tether. Just two Californians trying to sell relevance. To a world that had collectively shrugged. And so we circle back to where the unraveling began. A room filled with lights. A woman dressed to be seen. Meghan Markle, once a headline, now another face in the crowd. Paris wasn't just a location. It was the omen. Dame Kristin's subtle shift wasn't just a snub, it was prophecy. A preview of the world's new stance on Meghan Markle. Not outrage, not admiration, just indifference. And Emma Grede? She didn't diminish Meghan on purpose. She simply embodied what Meghan has been chasing, but never quite capturing effortless relevance. Harry watches from the sidelines, somewhere between regret and disbelief, as the woman who changed his life now struggles to hold on to the one currency she once commanded, attention. Because fame rarely ends with a dramatic crash. It fades. Quietly. Softly. Until one day, you enter a room and nothing shifts. No heads turn. No whispers rise. You stand there flawless, styled, prepared, and no one sees you. Meghan Markle walks into those rooms now. And the silence around her says everything.